She had gathered her long silver hair in one hand so it didn't hang down onto Arch. Even the former noble Arch had never seen a girl this pretty. If she appeared at a ball, all the men would be clamoring for her attention. With that beauty, she could probably get whatever she wanted. The red eyes were so bewitching. Arch felt like her soul might get sucked out. Arch immediately came back to herself. Someone dressed like that shouldn't be in a place like this. Besides, she had her feet planted on the tree and was standing perpendicular to its trunk. The possibility that came to mind was that she was giving chase on behalf of Aints, but she couldn't say for sure that she wasn't a long-time inhabitant of the forest. Are we done playing tag? Her faint hope was crushed. You ray after me? Arch leaped to her feet and pointed her staff at the girl while securing some distance. Meanwhile, the girl seemed to almost have lost interest in Arch and walked down the tree onto the ground. Better run. If I defeat you right here, I'll be able to get away safely, she said. She was grimacing on the inside. She knew she wouldn't be able to beat any pursuers sent by that monster. The monster was stronger than common sense allowed, but she put on a brave front to gauge her opponent's reaction. Go right ahead. I have time for a dalliance. Her attitude said she was fully aware of the gap between their abilities. In other words, fighting Arch was only a game for her. Fly. Arch cast the spell and began her escape. She didn't have time to fly sluggishly near the ground. She ascended all at once. Protecting her face with her hands, she sped through the branches and popped out above the trees. Arch took in her surroundings beneath the night sky. She was on guard against a monster like the huge bats she had seen before, but she didn't see any nearby. Then all she had to do was flee. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Just as she was about to get away, a pretty voice cheered her on. Her heart nearly jumped out of her chest. She looked around, trying to find where the voice had come from. Then in front of her, higher than she was at some point, the girl had appeared. Lightning, a pale blue shock ripped across the sky from the tip of Arch's staff and struck her. It was the highest tier attack spell Arch could use, but even when it zapped through the girl, her smile didn't waver. She as a being equal to Aints, Arch realized. That meant she didn't stand a chance. As she attempted to flee, the girl's voice shouted gleefully. My kin. Huge wings sprouted from her back. They were like bat wings, only gigantic. An extraordinarily large bat separated from her and took flight. Of course, the crimson-eyed bat couldn't be a mere beast. The girl sneered at her as the bat climbed into the sky with audible flaps of its wings. It was a sinister smile that didn't seem her age at all and made Arch's blood run cold. Now then, do your best to flee. Arch flew away. She thought only of fleeing and flew. She swooped into the forest to lose the thing chasing her and flew, though the branches hurt her. The reason she had left her teammates behind was to flee. She had to at least get away. She would do anything to get away. And how long had she been flying when she met despair face to face? A wall stood before her. It was an invisible wall. Though the world went on, the wall stood in her way. She was over 600 feet above ground. The wall went that high. What, she murmured, hopeless. She flew, brushing her hand along it. It was a wall and a wall and a wall. Yes, the hard sensation under her hand remained wherever she went. What is this, a wall? She was talking to herself, so there shouldn't have been an answer. And yet she turned around looking worn out. She recognized the voice. It was who she had expected, the little girl. And near her flapped 3 of those huge bats. You seem to have misunderstood something. This is the 6th level of the Great Tomb of Nazareth. In other words, you ray underground. This is... She pointed at the world around them. The sky had stars and a breeze was blowing. A forest spread across the earth. Her idea that a place like this couldn't possibly be underground clashed with the thought that these people could probably pull off something like that. The 41 supreme beings are the former rulers of this land, as well as our creators. This is a system they built that even we cannot comprehend. They created the world, but that's what the gods exactly. To us, Lord Aints and the others who were once with us are godlike beings. Arch looked around. She had already accepted it. Having been told all that, what other choice did she have but to accept? She would never get out of this place alive. Now then, you aren't going to run away. Can I? No, because I have no intention of allowing you to escape. I see. She clenched her staff in both hands and lunged at the girl. She was out of magical energy, so she couldn't use any spells, but she would still fight to run all the way to the end. That's what she had to do as the last remaining member of Foresight. Yes, yes, nicely done. The girl responded to Arch's desperate charge in a bored voice. getaway ends here. How unfortunate that you didn't collapse into a sobbing heap. The girl effortlessly caught Arch's staff mid-swing and yanked it toward her. Arch lost her balance and fell into the girl. The pair of them wrestled in midair. In one smooth motion, the girl buried her face in Arch's neck. Arch struggled, trying to throw her off, but she wouldn't budge. It was as if they were glued together. She shivered at an unpleasantly warm breath on the nape of her neck. You smell all sweaty. Arch was a worker. She couldn't help it if her body wasn't pristine while she was on a job. It was just par for the course for workers, adventurers, travelers, and anyone outside for long periods of time. If anybody got called dirty, they would just say and laugh. But when a gorgeous girl younger than her said it, she couldn't help but feel ashamed. The girl's face moved away from Arch's neck. The moment she saw those crimson eyes, she was seized by an intense loathing, because her eyes were like those of a lustful man about to devour a woman's body. Relax. You'll go to your death painlessly. Be grateful for Lord Aintz's mercy. She'd been about to talk back, but she was shocked. She couldn't move. It was as if her soul had been swallowed up by those crimson eyes. That was when the true nature of this girl finally dawned on Arch. Her opponent wasn't a human but a vampire, and now the girl brought her face in close. The tongue that slipped between her parted lips licked Arch's cheek. Salty, the girl grinned. Despair tormented Arch's heart. Her grin widened. Her lips reached her ears in a smile that threatened to split her face right open. Pigment seeped from her irises, turning her eyeballs entirely blood-red. Then her mouth sprang open. It had been lined with pretty white teeth, but now it had sprouted multiple shark-like rows of countless narrow white things. These looked like syringes. Her oral cavities sparkled wetly, gleaming an obscene pink, as clear drool spilled from the corners of her mouth. The fear welling up from the pit of Arch's stomach enveloped her. Ha 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 ha. Before this cackling monster belching the stench of blood, Arch's mind went blank. The last thing she thought of were her two sisters waiting for her at home. Who? You blacked out? Then I don't have to knock you unconscious with magic. Enter the god of death's embrace right there from your dreams. Aints left the job of disposing of the raiders to the others. He booted up the monitor in the throne room and browsed Nazarik's data. He'd been most worried about their available funds. They hadn't changed much at all. This was because they hadn't used any traps that cost money. This was worthy of being called a success. He smiled, although his skull face didn't move at Albedo, who was waiting nervously for his critique. He praised her. Magnificent. Those raiders were weak, but for humans in this world, they were on the strong side. If you were able to get rid of them with so few expenses, then I have no problem leaving Nazarik's defenses up to you. Thank you. Visibly relieved, she bowed deeply. Lord Aints, how are you doing on time? Fine. I heard from Pandora's actor that although the workers are running late, they decided to wait a day or until they notice some change in the ruins. Faced with the reality of not a single worker returning in the morning, the adventurers panicked. But Momon Pandora's actor proposed that they wait a day. In the event of an emergency, the plan had been to evacuate the base and watch from a safer distance. But an adamantite rank adventurer spoke up. Then could I trouble you for a moment? I wanted to suggest something. What is it, Albedo? Wait just a second, okay, no problem. He checked Hamusuk and the lizard men on the monitor before turning back around. Okay, what is your suggestion? Ahem. She looked around the room before speaking. It is related to something those fools said earlier. I am wondering how high you are prioritizing finding the other supreme beings. It is our most important task. As long as we are not putting the great tomb of Nazarik in danger, it is my highest priority, Aints answered immediately. Okay, I understand. Then I want to propose this all the more. I'd like permission to form a team directly under me that will search for them. What do you mean? His tone was unintentionally sharp, because she hit on his heart's hidden desire. There had been plenty of opportunities to search for his guildmates. Each time he didn't have anyone to help, or they didn't have enough intelligence, he put off making a plan. What if they searched every corner of this world and didn't find them? That possibility made it hard to get started. Rather than putting in a lot of effort only to confirm he was alone, he would become a monster bent on improving his reputation. That allowed him to hold on to some hope. It was immediately clear the fool's claims were false, but in the future, there may be times when the truth of such a claim is more difficult to ascertain. I would like to form a team that both confirms the reliability of our information and searches for the supreme beings. I thought it might be good to do a detailed investigation and then report to you. Aints put a hand to his chin and groaned. I see, recalling his earlier conversation with the workers, he felt not anger but emptiness. There was nothing more painful than being kept hovering between hope and despair. It seemed that whatever his personal feelings were, it was time, as head of the organization, to take a decisive step forward, even if it were a small one. It wouldn't have to be you, would it? I want you to continue the fine job you do managing the tomb. Assuming such a team would be outside Nazarick gathering intelligence, it seems like Mare and Aura would be appropriate. There are dark elves out there, so they would even fit in. It's as you say, my lord. However, there is one thing that worries me: the possibility of reckless actions. For example, we might suppose Sholtia would behave recklessly if she caught wind of Lord Peroncino. It is unclear how Mare and Aura would react if they heard something about Lady Bubbling Teapot. I see Aints winced as he recalled Sholtia. Yeah, you may be right. So I came to the conclusion that we should create a team under me. Would you get reckless if you found out something about Tabula? You can rest at ease. As the captain of Nazarick's Guardians, I would never do such a thing. I promise. I see the chances of wise Albedo, so skilled in managing Nazarick's internal organization, running wild, were low. Now and then she did something a little stupid, but she still handled Nazarick while Aints was away with no problem, so he trusted her. Personally, I think Demiurge would also be a good choice, but he is busy with various other things. Adding the important role of gathering intelligence about the supreme beings to his workload would be too much, I think. That is reasonable. What about using Pandora's actor? That is precisely what I would like to do. Please allow me to borrow him as my aide-de-camp. I see. Two of Nazarick's best minds are unmistakably better than one, but he also has to manage the treasury. Let me lend him to you when you need him. Thank you, and may I inquire about some related matters? Aints gestured with his chin that she should go ahead. If possible, I'd like this Supreme Being search party under me to have strong members. That is only natural. I'll provide you with our most elite minions. Thank you. It would also be great if I could get the undead aid you created. That is a no. That one is level 90, if I remember correctly, but the undead Aints could create with a skill using experience points, such as an Overlord Weissman or a Grim Reaper Thanatos, were stronger than NPCs for hire. He could only make one, but it was powerful. The problem was that as long as he didn't have a way to gain vast amounts of experience here like he could in Yggdrasil, he wanted to avoid using skills that consumed it. Yeah, no. You'll be responsible for the team, and Pandora's actor will aid you. Let us make the rest monsters. Understood. Then one other thing, I'd like to keep this team secret from the other Guardians. Why? Wouldn't it be better to have their cooperation? No, if word got out, the Guardians and others created by the Supreme Beings may ask to be taken along so they can see for themselves. In the case of a trap, that would mean leaping needlessly into danger. I have superior defensive skills, so I am confident that I could escape and make it back if it was just me, but with others along that makes sense. Okay, Albedo, we'll do it your way. Thank you, Lord Aints. She bowed so low her long hair completely covered her face. That is fine. More importantly, I am counting on you, you know. Yes, my lord. My secret special ops group on orders of the utmost importance will be sure not to disappoint you. Aints cocked his head in his mind. That seemed like a strange way to respond. Well, whatever. Okay, let us select your subordinates. Instead of having you pull ones who are stationed in Nazarick, how about we create some new ones? How many in their 80s do you want? For now, 15 would suffice. 15? Isn't he that kind of a? Ain't shook his head as he said this. Searching for his old friends was critical. In that case, 15 was barely an expense. No, you're right. Okay. I also wanted to ask your permission to grant Rubido commanding authority. Rejected. His answer was immediate. Rubido was the strongest individual in Nazarick. In a pure melee fight, she was stronger than Sebas, Cocytus, or Albedo. Compared to Rubido, whom Aints probably couldn't beat fully equipped, even Sholtia seemed weak. The only ones who can beat her are those stationed on the 8th level, and that is only if we also use a world item. He doubted she could actually take one of them, but since the test to boot her up was successful, I don't feel the need to do anything with her for the time being. More importantly, why would you need that much combat power? It's embarrassing, but shall I tell you? Go ahead. I just thought since I had the opportunity, I should try to make the strongest team possible. Ha 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 ha. It was incredibly childish, but still, Aints could understand how she felt, so he burst out laughing. The emotion was suppressed at once, but he still felt ripples of pleasant feelings. Lord Aints. Albedo seemed upset, but Aints grinned at her, although his face didn't move, and said, sorry. Yeah, that is very interesting, I see. Then let us give your little sister commanding authority. Are you sure it's all right? Sure, it's fine. You should make your dream team. Besides, maybe I'll make use of their power for something else in the future. Thank you, Lord Aints. She was bowing so deeply he couldn't see her expression, but he assumed it was her usual smile. When he turned his attention back to the monitor, Entoma entered the throne room. She strode directly to a place near the throne, got down on one knee and bowed her head low. Do excuse me. What is it, Entoma? She verbally acknowledged Albedo's stern query without changing her posture and then replied, I am here to report that it is time for Mistress Aura and Master Mare to depart. I see, raise your head. Yes, Ma am. Entoma gave another clipped acknowledgement and looked up. I have some time, so I'll go see them off. It would be tactless to simply say goodbye via magic. Sorry, Entoma, but please go ahead of me and tell them I am coming. Understood. With her eyes on Entoma as she stood and walked away, Albedo asked Aints, Lord Aints, did that not displease you? It shouldn't have been Entoma, but one of the other maids. I'll reprimand them. What? I just thought hearing that rude little girl's voice would don't worry about that. On the contrary, I was the one who recommended it. Wait, Entoma, my lord, what is it? She turned around flustered, but Aints stopped her from returning and instructed her to speak to him from where she was. What did you do with the rest of her? Were you sure to make good use of all her parts? Yes. One of the silk hats took her head. The dead man's struggles shared her arms. Master Demiurge took her skin. The rest went to feed Grant's children, so I think we can say everything was put to good use. Okay. That's fine then. It's our responsibility as the ones who hunted and killed her to not waste anything. Any hunter would surely do the same. It's like a memorial offering. How kind you are, Lord Aints. But of course a supreme being would show such mercy, even to a dirty thief. Any member of Nazarick would surely be moved to tears if they heard what you said just now. Albedo's voice had become emotional. Even Entoma's unusual eyes seemed to contain a hint of respect. Well, sure, in the end, it's my feeling on the matter. I don't intend to coerce you all into it. That said, I still think it's polite to use all the parts of those we killed to our advantage. Understood. Then we'll make sure to use the others to the fullest as well. As the pair of them bowed, Aints had the same sensation he did when his buttons were done up a hole off, but he answered good nonetheless. There were a number of meeting and sitting rooms inside the Ministry of Magic complex. The sitting room Fluda was heading for had the most luxurious furnishings. It was only used when the Emperor or someone of similar rank visited. He stood outside and checked his appearance. His robe was first-rate, suitable for a soiree hosted by the Emperor. The perfume he applied to the sleeves and collar gave off a pleasant scent. Normally, Fluda had little to do with politics or society. He preferred to focus solely on his magic research and found other things bothersome. Still, he knew he wasn't in a position to ignore them. He didn't want his appearance to tarnish the Empire's dignity. All right, I am fine. After confirming nothing was amiss, he knocked on the door and opened it. Two adventurers were in the splendid room. One was a warrior wearing raven black armor, almost like the Death Knight he had just visited. The other was an eye-catching beauty, even for Fluda. It was Momon from Raven Black. Beautiful Princess Nabe, apologies for keeping you waiting. Fluda quietly closed the door and realized something felt strange. That was odd. Still at the door, he squinted at the peerless beauty. I can see it. Fluda should have been able to see something else overlapping her figure with his eyes. He was so shocked that he murmured in spite of himself. Fluda had been born with a talent. He could see auras around casters. These auras showed what tiers of magic they could use. But even though Ravenback's beautiful Princess Nabe was a caster, he couldn't detect an aura. Was it detection defense? That was all he could think. If so, a question arose. Why would she be using detection defense? Normal adventurers normally didn't go so far. it was a nuisance to allot some of their power for that, and they were often in a position where they had to be wary in such a manner. On top of that, meeting someone with detection defense active could be considered rude. Of course, the side using a detection ability has no manners either, but why would she conceal her power? Fluda's talent was known far and wide. Perhaps it was a measure against it, but that didn't answer the question. A suspicious voice called out to Fluda.